on over to the market, deciding to go in from your house after waking up rather, honestly, not as horribly as you all could have been after a night out of drinking with Oryx parties. In total, though, you all decide to go to the market. You bought some of your required items, some utensils, uh, herbs, and some other remedies for yourselves, including poisons. After which, you decide to go to the Gaping Maw to take upon the job from Vilda, which she explained in very vague details and in an alarming knowledge of who Hannah is. Uh, the job itself, which effectively is some sort of heart or item that is missing from the town, which needs to be placed back into the well to keep the town functioning as it should, at which everyone's working in overdrive to an extent, trying to maintain the town's, well, systems, and try to keep it what it is. You don't know the details of which so yet, but you can tell that it is of great importance to them, and they're willing to take outsiders to come in and help them. To which you learn that they aren't exactly particularly against outsiders at all. In fact, quite the opposite. They're all moving in being quite friendly, to the shock and surprise. Which, obviously, they take great glee in your shock and surprise, as they all seem happy that you are a little bit intimidated and or scared. But for some reason, you feel as if it is not an intentionally mean thing. It's more or less, haha, we scared you, good to know. Which is a shock, to say the very least. However, it seems someone saw fit, especially, mostly this small cat-like creature, to kind of get you moving towards your job. In which this is where you were pretty much taken in from that point on. Moving up with this cat into Hollow's Heart Town. Ready to begin your journey. Trying to avoid the mass amount of crowds that is about to come out and try to say hello. We'll see if it works.
Oh boy.
Be that as it may, though, this is where we're currently at, as you all are pretty much moving through the town, looking at its weird aesthetic, beautiful and spooky, to say the very least, but not in a, It's hard to say whether or not it's intimidating, because some you'd be fascinated by it, in awe and glory, if I'm being honest. It is majestic, but in a intentionally horrific way.
Like somebody went out of their way to ensure the place met a certain creepy
quota.
It's like a creepy grandiosity. It's overall mix of pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns, well carved, well made. The creepy, even the creepy tree aesthetics that seems to have floating bits of. What is that stuff? It's like a white fabric of some kind. A thin white fabric, actually, just hanging from the trees.
No comments.
Really
And this is where you find out that we don't. Lindsay finds out that they don't yet know what toilet paper is.
I beg your pardon.
This place has toilet paper. Lindsay, you're seeing toilet paper.
Lindsay knows what fucking toilet paper is.
Lindsay, I think out of all of these, the only one who would know what toilet paper is.
Are you saying I don't know or I do know?
Lindsay, you do know what toilet paper is.
Okay, I was about to say, like, what?
Faerun doesn't have a lot of places that have toilet paper. Waterdeep being one of the very few places that does. Toilet paper is actually a very new concept right now. Which is funny.
Concern.
Everyone just kind of uses rags.
Less concerned,
but you're seeing toilet paper on trees now.
That is such a wasteful use of toiletry.
Hmm? Oh yeah, that's those are the local kids, actually. They play quote-unquote pranks by throwing them up onto the trees.
I mean, I suppose one could say it is decorative in a strange sense.
Very odd sense, yes.
Oh, it is paper, but
Entire city,
even still.
this entire area is very
That is not
interesting.
by our usual choices in terms of how we would like to play pranks on each other, but our old ways of playing pranks is much more dangerous, you could say. Something that's the Lord saw fit not to continue.
Understood. Um,
Right.
I will say this place has a very unique aesthetic to it.
Yes, yes. Simply trying to twist your head off and then play ball with it is not an easy thing for many people.
That's a
It'll be
regular
easy for this
occurrence.
one. It'll be
Don't
easy for this
look
one.
at me.
Pointing to Lindsay.
Don't look at me. If you do, I'm gonna be mad.
Yes, it was so fitted that you would need the direct permission from both sides before you could play head ball here. A kid's head was gone for about a week once, so we had to search the entire town looking for it.
Oh! Lindsay hastily puts her head back on.
Yes, you could see though. Thankfully, though, the law decreed that both parties had to be of absolute surety and have a coach of some kind to review the board so that we do not lose any more heads.
That's a rule.
Smart.
Good to know.
She is a very smart one. Ever since she took charge of this town, it has been nothing but improvement after improvement.
Mm.
Although, admittedly, never mind. That's not for me to say. Let's continue down to the town. Would you like a tour, or would you like to go straight to business?
Ah.
Tour would
Given
be nice.
the,
It is
Hmm?
quite a big town.
I would suggest, given the seriousness of the task at hand, I should say we should probably focus on that first. Then, once the item is returned, we can have some tour time.
I don't disagree.
Alright. I
She
think
told
the
us.
first. Look, go ahead.
No, please continue. I
Well,
apologize.
no, you first. He's just hastily pointing at you.
I was simply going to say that your lord gave us information, albeit very minimal, stated that there was an object of power that was removed from the central well, and there was somebody here currently investigating it. We were supposed to meet with them and assist however we can.
Indeed.
Yes. Overall, I believe they said that once you arrive and make yourselves known and acquainted with the town in your own way as you see fit, we were to take you to their manor.
So we gotta meet the
Which
civilians
they
first.
seem to be trying to reconvert into more of a general area for people. It's a bit confusing, if I'm being honest. The new changes that they're trying to make.
Confusing and strange, but not always for the not always for a bad thing.
Oh, not a bad thing at all. It's just I guess the best way that I could put it is the older lord was not as was a lot more solitary, and she seems a lot more welcoming to the others. But I suppose once she got into his heart, it was quite the experience for him. I believe, how do I best put this? It started to make the heart beat again.
I suppose that makes sense in a way.
Yes. Right. But straight to the manor then, right? Yes.
Seems like it.
Mm. If there's any questions you have before we arrive, anything you may need to know or wish to know, just feel free to ask me right now. For I will not go inside the manor with you. I must see to it that everyone else gets back to work and not pesters you during this time.
It is appreciated. Other than whatever information you could tell us of the artifact missing, or potentially who is
Yes,
suspect of
the
taking it.
beating heart.
It's
It
beating
has been
heart.
it has been here at the birthplace of the town, the very heart of the original lord of this town's creator, actually. It is said to be
That's-
placed into the fountain, granting a sense of cheery protection for others, especially from the cold, grim dark that the original forest had. It spread its values and joy amongst everywhere, making a season in and of its own.
I see.
Mm.
And now with said artifact gone, you are worried that this darkness will encroach again.
It is far less defendable as a town without it. And I fear that more hands are at play. You do not, how do I put this? If this is a prank, it's going very far.
I would not call something as stealing a sacred artifact a prank.
Well, kids. Kids around here are very open and bashful to playing up pranks and its aspects. And sometimes some kids tend to overstep after hearing such a legend of an item. I cannot say I blame them every now and again. It does get rather boring every now and again. In fact, I'm worried about some of the people here being too bored, given everything. When you spend a good, about, 800 years around here and there, you find things to do, but there's only so much. Still, you're right. It is of no excuse.
800 years.
800
Interesting.
years, that's how long that I've been the, assistant to our dear lord.
I see. Ark's just kind of glancing around, just trying to take in the scenery as best he can while trying to think what kind of place this actually is.
Overall, between the gothic themed aesthetics, but very much so with bright and almost cheery pumpkins out and about everywhere, you can estimate that this is. It is almost a jolly horror, is the best aesthetical feeling I can honestly give you. They're trying to be a mix of spooky, but almost silly in most aspects. As if they're actually trying to move into aesthetic that is less intimidating. It's still spooky, but the fright is meant to make you laugh. Something tells you that this sort of change, however, in aesthetic is intentional. You see some parts that are very old, actually very dark and almost grim looking. But you see some of the more refurbished and almost newer looking houses having this almost jolly, almost disproportionate house aesthetic. As if this is a unique house design meant for a silly story or cartoon. Somehow working.
Seems your town is under a great deal of revitalization, as it were.
Well, well, we can't exactly have every aspect of the place frightening children, now can we?
This is how you wish your town to be presented.
We want the town to represent the very spirit of what we are. A season of fall, a season of recovery, a season of jolliness and natural spooks. This is where the ghouls, the critters, and everything else come out to play alongside everyone else.
Hmm.
The spirit of the fall season, you could say.
Yeah,
And
such is
this is.
the idea I'm kind of getting from this place.
Tell me, how do you celebrate the fall season?
Uh,
How do you celebrate the fall season?
uh, it's been a while, personally, that, since I celebrated. I know the traditional sense is just to throw around decorations, pumpkins, spooky lights, dressing up. You know, that sort
Ah,
of thing.
yes.
Oddly, much of my time is spent traveling, so celebrations of the seasons is not something I normally indulge in.
Really? You don't choose to indulge in it?
It's more of a question of, am I staying in one place long enough to enjoy it?
Well, I hope you do, if I'm being honest.
Shall see.
Right. We're coming up upon Vilda's Manor. Right. Any other questions, though? Right. You had asked one. I didn't know if any of you others had any questions yourselves.
Has anything since this item went missing changed whatsoever?
For the most part, not yet. Besides parts of the Hollows Woods returning to its original grim state.
'Cause I was going to say if there's any particular rush to get it back, and something's dire, then you know we would get a move on immediately.
Spoke of threats that were encroaching on the town. What sorts of threats should we expect once we leave in search of this item?
Yeah.
Threats. Well, that's a good question, actually. The last time the town was ever threatened was quite a few years ago. Back when Boogie and his little squadrons of corruptors came about. But that was, God, cost well over, like they say, 80 years ago.
80.
Yeah, so we've never had any problems of a magnitude ever since. Ever since our dear Lady Vilda came into play. She assisted in his defeat, and from then on was taken as the very hand of our previous ruler, and he left the town in her charge.
Okay. Well, I would have liked a little more information on what we could expect, but I suppose we'll just have to learn as we go.
Uh, Admittedly, it's not as if the place here is not amongst its dangers. Again, there's a reason we all stay within the town's premises. It's everywhere outside that's the danger. And if I'm being honest, it's ever changing. Think about it this way. How many ghouls, creatures have you faced or seen in your past?
I got to share in my travels.
Same.
Have you ever
Yeah,
thought
I
that
could give it a
maybe
specific number.
have you ever thought that maybe when these horrors manifest, they all come from somewhere?
I could imagine.
Well,
Are you saying that they all began here?
well, at least a great deal of them. You might have just found its origin if you look hard enough.
I'm beginning to get a feel for what this place actually is.
Try not to think about it too much. People have gone mad trying to figure this place out for over the years and years of time. Mad wizards were birthed here. Be wary of that.
80.
How about the best way I could put it? Think about a feeling given form, a concept given shape, ideas given power. That is what this place is. And it birthed its concepts into the world.
I believe I understand what you were saying.
I do hope so.
The item.
Something in return is beating heart.
Yes, what about the item?
What, if I may ask, and if you can't tell me, that's fine too. But it could a prank, yes, it makes sense. But it, in terms of what it could contain or what it could do, what does it do?
This item, if taken, can spread an influence of intention throughout an area.
Influence of intention.
Say, for instance, you actually want to change an aspect of the world, make it yours, redesign it in your own shapings. It spreads an influence or an effect across a wide sphere of radius, and you gain the aspect of control while it is of your control and intention. The best way I could put it, if you wanted something to be while it is in your hands, while it is around you, while its influence is within your grasp, it will be.
By the gods, you can bring things to imagination.
Just be very careful with your imagination. It is like I guess the best term you would use is a monkey's paw. It could be used as your greatest aspect and alliance, or it could be very much so your downfall.
It's basically a wish that makes things quite literal. Unendingly so, I believe. If it's
However,
in with our own,
learning how to use it is just as, I wouldn't say impossible, but it is quite unlikely somebody would actually figure out how to use it. After all, there's only about 3 people alive who knows how to do it. Well, if you could call it alive.
oh, so if we collect it, then we don't have to worry about accidentally doing something when it's in our
No,
grasp.
no, no, no.
Okay.
It is very, very specific in the way it could be utilized.
Okay.
And even if you sell it, amongst anything else, not saying you would, it would become a useless pawn of things more quickly than not.
Well, as I said, we were tasked with retrieving it for the safety of this town, so that is what we shall do.
Speaking of this
Oh.
town amongst everything else, here we are. In which case, you see upon approaching in the distance, this definitely as if somebody had turned a painting and made it to life, about what anything could be of expected. Approaching, you see this mythical aspect of a building, large in scale with even larger steps to it. Upon approach for you all, this is what your vision grasps. A house. You can barely count how high, maybe perhaps 80, 90 feet high in terms of its peak, perhaps 100. It's almost as if you went to an entire theme park with one large centered building, this being the center building of it.
Oh my gosh.
Overall, it's a manner of magnitude with many different gateways, doors, windows, balconies, an assortment. The color, a dark blue in all of its colorized shading on the outside. And the moon perfectly centered to show its light upon it, with an ever-present fog, seemingly never disappearing upon its landscape. A small river moving into an area through a hole of some kind of cave surface upon the side of it. A grand design of a building as far as you could see. One, probably as you'd expect, straight from someone's imagination. Well, here we are. He seems to move up the steps and go towards the door and open it and waits for you to enter.
So
I
would
can't quite
follow
tell
for
what
like
this
a
is
day.
made of.
Mm.
I'm assuming you all do enter that.
I'm at least cautiously going up the stairs. I'm kind of inspecting the rail. Trying to think of what's it made out of.
You feel it, and so far, it does seem to be made out of some kind of smooth thinned out black metal. But the steps themselves, a pale gray wood.
It's like this metal and wood. I think that's valency.
Hmm? Yeah. Well, if you put this much time into a place like this, most likely.
Well, I suppose as real as the explanation.
Hmm.
This place it definitely take some time to complete.
Or maybe it was instantaneous.
Mm-hmm.
Both very good theories. Overall, that is not exactly a sign that I would actually know myself. I simply am a servant of it, and its origins are for the lady to know.
Right.
But alas, do enjoy the venues and the many different what do you people call it? The delicacies that it serves. Right.
Why, for your festival or inside? I'm confused.
Enjoy the festivities. Good day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bow and try to hustle back down. Oh god, I hope somebody didn't burn.
What? What? What?
Oh.
Leaving
she's
you
gone.
all alone at the doorway.
Lindsay, remembering where she is, just takes her head off again.
That's very needed.
I fit in more when I do this. I feel like I do.
Well, I'm ready, I suppose.
Yeah,
Nervous.
Yeah, we gotta wait for the other two to get up the stairs.
Alright.
I'm right here.
Oh wait, you can't move your piece. You're not even at your computer.
Hey, shall we go in search of our host or hostess?
Yeah, let's go inside.
Mm-hmm.
You enter into the building, and it's almost immediate. The music filling you, a light, almost jazzy, poppy tune. Honestly, actually, that probably what you could express from an era probably ahead of yours, as far as you could see. You were hearing something of like a device. From what we know, it would be a record player, but for the rest of you, you don't know what it is. But it's moving through the halls. For every one of you, it's like aspects of magic, and a type of music unbeknownst to any of you.
Oh my god, it's Michael Jackson's Thriller.
Oh my god!
Who the hell is who is Michael Jackson and why would he?
He's been dead for a very long time.
That's it came from this place. He'd possibly return to it.
And then moves into more of an orchestrated, effective music. And if you want some no copyright, it's in music suggestions.
Oh! Let's see.
Let's just follow the music, I suppose, or try and see if we can find some signs of someone in here.
Let us go find some signs of people. I got two beats clashing at the same time. Stop.
Love a good old jazz swing. Overall, though, you move through almost kind of like a hotel room entrance in a very weird way. Red carpet flooring, but with different assortments of decorated pumpkins moving around, even hanging from the ceilings on chains, lighting up the room in a well-decorated sense of fashion. Overall, some oddly enough cobwebs up at near the roofing of the ceiling, though very well and intentionally placed as far as you can see, as you do see the same spiders which carried you up on that ceiling, just kind of resting in their nests. The ceiling being pretty much 25 feet high. as upon you entering?
You know, some people confuse the hell out of me. Why would you ever need fog inside your home near the ceiling? It is so hard to see the actual top.
Aesthetic.
But it's you get moisture and you get mold, you know.
I'm sure they have works around for that.
Just doesn't make any sense to me.
Perhaps it is
Either
intentional.
way.
Keep the wood moist so it doesn't dry out.
Yeah, but you want things to be dry inside your home. That's what we don't get back to.
Moving on and upwards, you eventually reach a set of stairs, which, upon looking around and moving up, it's very clear that anybody would probably get lost in a place like this. Although, thankfully to you, you see a very familiar visage before you. Upon a stairway upwards, you see the lady herself at the between a doorway from ending from the upstairs area.
Ah, there she is.
We'll just kind of give a small bow of greeting and respect.
Lindsay also
She just-
in turn.
Kind of just chuckles. No need for that kind of formality, honestly.
It's how I was raised.
She sets a bowl down next to her, basically on a on the railing, which is a metal railing, and just kind of literally flicks it, and the bowl slides all the way down and stops, pretty much defying gravity right next to you all, as if it was on a railway. And the bowl seems to be filled with candy of different variations of kind. A lot of it candy corn, admittedly, swirling around the bowl a lot. But everything else seems to be that of different wrapped candy. Some of them you don't even recognize at all, or ever seen before. Care for some treats?
Lindsay's gonna grab the nearest gummy spider if there are in there.
There are some gummy spiders in there.
Hell fucking yes.
One of which actually
I
blinks
suppose I
at
could
you.
try.
Wait, when you say winks at me?
Blinks at you.
Brother, dude, she looks at the damn spider's like, I can't eat you. But
If
you
the
look
moment
so
you open your
good."
mouth, it hops in.
She just
Tastes
starts
like a sour
chewing.
gummy.
She just like gives up. And it's like she felt bad for eating something that was technically alive, but she just chews.
I could look at the dragon on his shoulder and then to the bull. See something you would like, little one?
Shakes their head.
It's not me.
It doesn't seem
Oh.
to be of their major diet type, even though the gummy worm was nice.
Yeah, he'll reach in and grab a small chocolate bar and kind of snack on it.
And she just grabs for another
Little
spider.
grab his
again.
Warner Not knowing what the packages is, just grabs randomly.
So right then. Are we all ready to move in and talk about it further? I already have the detective inside the room waiting for you all.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful! Come, be my guests. In which case, she enters the room at the top of the stairs.
So we'll just start walking up.
Okay. Overall, the stairway moving up, you start to notice some changes, as if parts of the inside of the house don't match as directly as the outside. It's like, that, you know those aspects where you feel like it fits, but at the exact same time, there's like slight changes that you've noticed that just don't seem to mesh well with the size change. As if part of you had grown smaller upon entering, or the house got bigger on the inside.
I can imagine a certain aesthetic to that.
But it mostly that kind of change as far as you've known, in terms of aesthetically. Either way, though. Moving on from that little note upon your mind, you enter into a very weird-looking manor study room, for the most part. Which, let me change the page. Oh wait, they left the grid on there. Hold on, let me take that off. Papa. There we go. You enter this manor study and filled to the brim with different candles, scented areas, pumpkins. And yes, indeed, this is a PNG, Pinterest. Overall, though, a dark, aesthetic room. In which case, you actually spot a man inside. That of a man with a bird-like head. Dressed in very fine, refined fashions, necklaces. It seems like that of some kind of almost arcanic trickster in method of designs. That he has different strays of the stars written and woven into his clothing that seem to move on its own. And a piercingly glowing, blooming red-eyed gaze as he turns his head to the side to look at you. Well, I see. You've brought guests.
Lindsay is taken aback, remembering that she killed a bunch of possibly his kind beforehand.
Yes, I do believe we have the perfect people to actually remedy our problem. Alas, I've brought them for you to give the details of. Please, take a seat, take any treats you want, as she holds out another tray of bakeries, actually. Pumpkin and bat-shaped bakeries. Cookies, small cakes, things like that.
She's giving us mini stores? I'm sorry? It's a bakeries.
You know...
Baked goods.
Baked goods, yes.
Yeah, bakeries.
Do you not call them bakeries? Pastries, things of the like? Guess it must be a different, I don't know. I don't know what else to call it, actually.
Baked goods.
Baked goods, pastries, things of the like, breads, cakes, all that good shit.
Delicious. Lindsay's eyes.
Again, not to be rude, he'll take a small sweet roll and just kind of split it in half for himself and for the dragon.
The dragon kind of just starts licking it.
Lindsay's body takes a roll and then it feeds it to her mouth and then grabs another one while she's chewing the first.
Right, well. So far from what we could tell, as you could already see, the well had its missing heart. However, what details do you know of the heart so far, actually? That's probably a good question. I could probably play off of the little information you know.
Lindsay's fire catches ass. Wait, no, what? No, Lindsay's... fuck!
What?
I gotta move my
I will
keys.
explain
Why
what...
are you putting your ass in the fire, please?
You put me there.
Mark will take a few minutes and explain what they were told by their guys on the way up regarding what the heart is and what it could do and what it represented.
So you know a little bit more detail, I see. I see the ragcat has caught himself talking about his curiosities again. But you are not wrong.
Lindsay's fire
These are
catches
the
ass.
details of why
I
we
just say
need
that.
the heart. And I can guarantee you, it is not actually left the town.
Lindsay's fire catches ass. I'm
From every aspect, if the heart should have left the town, then simply put, the town would have no defenses at all. The forest would turn from its purple grass to a dark gray, grim, bleak dead grass, gray grass. And it is still purple, which means the heart is still within the town's premises. But somebody has hidden it somewhere, and the longer it is out of the well, the more and more it will lose its power here.
At least that somewhat narrows down our area of search.
So it would seem, but I am still trying to gauge why. If anybody were to just simply put this as a basic trick, then simply put, the moment that they realize what's at risk, they should have simply given the heart back. But they're not.
That means someone has ill intention.
My point exactly.
The place.
I'm
Somebody
assuming
wants
everyone's educated on what the heart does, right?
Absolutely. Even some of their youngers had to find out because it went missing. But upon everything, everyone's in agreement that the town should remain kind, defended, and jolly. But there's only so many reasons as to why someone would want the town's defenses to ever go. And that is the reason that I am trying to keep hidden from people, to not cause panic.
But
Thankfully, not everyone's as intelligent as I am. But if they catch wind, then everyone's might go back to some old habits.
Might cause some civil unrest amongst the locals.
My dear friends, I believe that's not actually the least of your worries, is civil unrest.
No.
They
I
would
imagine
go back
that
to the
more.
old ways. They would start to believe that everyone is out against them again. That, simply put, that people, ghouls, and critters cannot mingle together as people and be jolly and happy together. They might force their ways into their old habits again. Hags making evil deals. Creatures trying to go out and hunt others for sport. And the vice versa as alike. It would be madness again into this dearest town. The meanest spirit of that of the horrors would return. And the people would return to their basic instincts.
I mean, 80 years of sovereignty. Someone would like to see how it serve, wouldn't they?
And I can only think of very few people who would want that return. The boogeyman.
Anything to say?
That
Yes, I
old
can list that.
sack. I can only think of him wanting to do this.
Okay, I have a few questions, if you don't mind me, good sir. Why wasn't this thing underneath, like, lock and key initially? I mean, I know it's supposed to be in a well. Is it an open well? Why is there no security?
Well, there's three reasons. Number one, if we try to lock it up too tight, then the things that we would need to actually sustain the heart would be much more difficult to give it to. It would be a very big procedure, and if we didn't have access to the heart at all, the heart would eventually die. Number two.
So it requires a steady.
Number two, this is the hardest part to work around. The heart is less of an item and more of an ever-thinking thing, actually. It is somewhat alive.
It's sentient.
Yes, and it wishes to be displayed. It wishes to be seen so that it may spread the joy of the occasional round and see the people actually enjoying themselves. It has a want. It has the desire. And it has to see the people being
To
happy.
be the center of attention.
Exactly. It wishes to see that its methods are being spread and working. And so long as it is that, it will happily continue its function. The third reason is actually quite unfortunate, but actually fortunate but unfortunate that things have changed. And that is we've had no reason to do so. We've never had too many troubles around here of that sort of effort. Everyone works hand by hand, everyone knows each other, everyone's friends. Usually. Anything of the dark nature usually stays out in the dark woods, you see, and doesn't really come in seeping in without noticing. Which is why I'm concerned what's actually infiltrated the town's defenses. Simply put, if we saw somebody moving in to try to steal the hearts, we would all stop it together. But somebody's clever enough to have done
Not
it
really.
under our very noses. 80 years of peace does kind of admittedly drain the skill, you could say.
That's understandable.
Yeah,
Some would
admit
wish a
him.
return to the old ways.
Yes.
Truly likes peace. Indeed.
You spoke before of the boogeyman. Do you know if anybody here in the town is sympathetic to his desires?
Used to be. A set of kids that he used as pawns at one point, but they have grown up. They have gone past him. They have moved through the stages of college and have started families of their own. They have become one with the town quite harmoniously. I don't see them
Even-
returning to him.
You would be surprised how often a person will change, but then
I
change
don't
back
know.
at the
I've
tip.
just 50 years ago, one of them had their wedding.
At the very least, he might know more.
If anything, they may have some information on who might have taken the heart.
Maybe. It is a long, dark past of theirs. Admittedly, they don't like to talk about it all too much anymore. But mayhaps it's the best place to pry.
As uncomfortable as it may be, it may prove our best lead.
I have a
Very well.
separate question as well.
Mm.
If you mentioned the boogeyman, how active has he been around town, or if he's active at all?
Around town. Oh, he would never dare set foot in here again. He lives somewhere out in the bogs of the forests. With the woods where the lands may claim him as it sees fit. For him to step into the town would be a death sentence in front of Hilda.
Okay, now
Then
that's
perhaps he is employing somebody else to do his bidding on his behalf.
also
So
what I
it's-
suspect as well. But this is suspicious. It's like if you can't set foot in town but still cause mischief, what's it worth if nothing at all?
Simple. If, let us say for the sake of argument, that the heart is unrecoverable and the old ways return, perhaps there would be more who'd be sympathetic to him, be willing to welcome him back, see him as a leader to help guide them to a better future. He is simply sowing the seeds of discord and then presenting himself when the time is right. At least that's how I would do it.
Is he our only
I
suspect?
think the
by the way?
discourse is all
Was
that's
there?
needed.
Well, technically, no. How do I best put this? If somebody is clever enough to do this, he is the person, probably the person. He's the biggest trickster, if you could call it that we know of. The rest of the people who we deem as threats, or how do I best put this? This is not their style of things to do. The only one I would believe that would have the knowledge, intent, and everything else would be him. He knows of the heart. He would be wanting to. He knows.
Hello?
Oh, did I?
Oh shit!
Tanner, we lost you.
Tanner!
Who's that?
Tanner! Tanner! Is there enough? Fuck them again.
I mean,
This is quite.
oh,
Oh. Well,
And this is
son
quite.
of a bitch!
there you are.
Welcome back.
there he is.
We lost you for about
What
30
was the
seconds
last
there.
thing you heard me say?
Others you suspect, but this is not their style. The one that best fits the MO would be this boogeyman.
Ah, yes, exactly. He was the one who knows the heart. He would know the influence that would take that if he were to take it. He would know the power of the heart, but he doesn't know how to use it. Obviously, we'd never teach him that. But yes, exactly. Exactly. He'd be the only one who wants the heart out of all the enemies this town has.
Roughly,
Then it would-
how big is this heart?
That's what's a comparable item? Oh yes, about as big as your brain.
Oh.
That's fairly big.
Smaller than your head. Points out Lindsay.
Oh god. Okay.
Something that size wouldn't be. It'd be a bit difficult to hide. Not extremely, but
Not impossible.
It's a decent point.
Well,
Ah.
then it seems to me the first ones we should speak to would be this boogeyman's former companions, these trickster trio you spoke of.
So what was
If anybody could give us an insight into his way of thinking, who better than those who used to work for him?
I suppose you're right. Just my methods of interrogation are oftentimes intimidating, but admittedly I've grown self-taught for that lot. I think I would have to take a step back if I were to do that.
That's understandable.
They take. They had moved on from melancholy streets a long time ago. They're probably by Love Haunt Avenue at this point.
Very well. What are their names so that we may know who to look for?
Ah, right. Let me write them down. Okay, let me type them up. Let's see here. There we go. Lock, shock, and barrel.
Hmm?
That's their names.
Curious names, but very well.
Lock. What?
Shock and barrel.
Barrel.
Barrel. Yeah.
Lock. Okay.
All right then.
Tanner, can you type it out, please? Lock, shock, and barrel. I'm still baffled by the barrel one. Who names? Never mind.
He's gonna raise an eyebrow. Oh, you don't want to talk about names? Got the names is Lizzie.
Lindsay is a very normal name. Pardon me, what's your name again, sir?
Acolyte.
Acolyte. You sound like a precious metal
Okay.
that has not been found for the last 20 years.
Why, thank you. Quite a fascinating name. Not as boring as Lindsay, now is it?
How dare you, sir? I can make this conversation very unboring
Anyways,
really
Look at
quickly.
him. He's a little protective.
So we know the heart is still somewhere within the city, within the walls of the city. It is small enough that it could be somewhat easily concealed. We just need to think of a way of how to detect where it is.
This.
Suppose
might
you guys have a
been-
metal detector.
Does anyone in town know how to use magic?
We're just gonna come
Quite a few people, if I'm being honest. Yes.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point.
Or
Yeah.
any of them able to locate objects via magic?
I think the closest we have would be Manifesta. That's a wonderful idea, actually. Admittedly, the heart is going to be incredibly hard to locate, has many protections, that being one of them. However, it is good to find some correlation there.
You can try and mask something all you want. There should still be a trail of some sort that if this manifesta is as good as you believe, they might be able to pick something up.
Yes, her and her sisters are quite wonderful at this. I do believe you'll find them in Melancholy Street.
So the question is,
Good.
do we go and speak with the trio, or do we go and try and find this manifesta first?
Good question.
Can I add another possibility there? It was taken out of the well. Why don't we go to the well?
Well, that is what I'm thinking. If we go to this manifesta individual, or find a way to get them to meet us at the well, perhaps they could be able to detect some sort of trace left by the well by the object we're seeking.
I'll suggest this. You guys go find the manifesta person, and I will preemptively go to the well, see what I can figure out. Maybe there's some more obvious things, per se. Because, it could be a dirty trail. You never know.
As much as I am sure the people of this town mean well, it would be unwise for us to travel alone. Hannah, you and Zoran. I was going to say, Hannah and Zoran, why don't you two go and find this manifesta individual? Lindsay and I will go to the well to try and see if we can't pick up any trace.
There you go.
I will say this much at the very least. Us holier the town have the best intentions, and we mean absolutely no harm, no matter how horrifying the visage we may hold.
It's not really the visage, as I'm currently holding myself in my arms. It's kind of just the excitability, the anxiety.
Quite.
It's one thing to be scary looking, it's another thing to do scary things. Yeah.
Also, Hannah. I do have somebody who would love to have a lovely chat with you later. I do hope you would make some time. Of course.
Someone's famous.
Who?
The old man has had a long time since he had one of his come visit.
She's
One of
in the
his?
middle of eating a cookie or something, and pauses with the cookie in her mouth.
What do you mean, one of his?
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not for me to really say.
That's my question. That's my question, Arcanus. What do you mean by that?
I already put it together. I didn't say anything out loud.
Ooh, to tell, or to not.
There's only one way to find out.
Do I get at least one cheeky question, perhaps?
Okay, maybe I can answer a little something. What's up?
She scoffs down the cookie. Did I know them in life?
I believe... How do I best put this? Life isn't necessarily just his decorum. Somewhere in between is where you would have known each other the most.
Her eyes light up. Oh. Where are they? Oh, define me. Wait, that's more than one cheeky question. Oh no.
Alas, he has some excitement in meeting you.
I'm starting to get excited about it too. Alright, well, I shouldn't keep him waiting.
That's cute.
Alright, well, as I said, Anna, Zoran, you two find this manifesta. Ask them to come meet Lindsay and I at the well. Let's see if we can't get some sort of track on who might have taken the orb. If we are unable to find anything, we will then proceed and speak with these trio of troublemakers to try and see if maybe they have any clue if their former employer is the one to blame.
wouldn't call them troublemakers. Maybe ex-troublemakers at this point.
They have behaved ever since they had stopped their troubling ways. Treat them with respect as you would any member of the town. Don't forget.
Of course.
You are still guests. They are the ones who live here.
Of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Well,
that means if we have to
sounds
use
like we have a
force for
plan.
whatever reason, then we have to have a good explanation for it. Oh boy. Hopefully not.
But, alas, I do not wish to waste any more of your time.
Mm-hmm.
If there is no one thing else, I believe you have a job to get to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna snap
Let
another
us-
cinnamon roll.
All right. Let us be off then. And may luck be on our side.
May the fortunes favor you evermore. And, of course, he turns into a small raven and flies out the window.
God, that was edgy.
There was a dramatic, that one.
Well, you're in the town for it.
All right. Let's go. And Ark's just gonna move towards the door.
Okay. Moving back out into the main areas. You go up to the... You go up upon seeing everything here. Hold on, let me actually grab you all. There we go. You move upon seeing the rest of the town amongst the streets. Where are y'all going first?
So I'm gonna be turning off the
Well,
music.
Like I said, Hannah and Zolrin are splitting off to go to try and find this individual, while Ark and Lindsay are going to head to the Hollow Central to examine the spot where the object is used to rest.
Okay. Repeat, I could not hear y'all as something had cut out.
Oh.
Arcanus and Lindsay are going to the Hollow Central, while Hannah and Zolrin are going off in search of the individual, the magic user.
Alright.
Man, I believe their name was.
Hannah and
That's it.
Zolrin. Hannah and Zolrin, how about we go to y'all first? If y'all make your way down, y'all kind of remember seeing them back into the early parts with around the little stages. In which case, you do easily find them setting up their little stall, setting up little potions, and quite a few of them actually. Even a small cauldron at the side, a smaller one. Alright, I believe this should ought to do it.
Hello?
If it isn't the guests. What
Reading?
can I do?
Hi. Oh, how would I put this? We're on our little adventure, our little quest, and we were wondering about trying to detect an item. Perhaps you could help us, or we're told you could help us. You care for a little bit of adventure?
Alright. Well, I can't do it from here, but could make some pre-arrangements in
Arrangements.
time.
Of course.
Of course, I could talk to my girls, us as sisters, and we could make haste in figuring it out. Of
That
course, that's
sounds
the
lovely.
answer to the question. What are you trying to find?
Suppose how would you describe it, Sol? The heart?
Ooh, you want me to try to find and locate the heart?
Or at least
I'm
something like
sorry. That's out of my capabilities. The heart itself I cannot find. Its vastness, how do I best put this? If I tried, it would just show up as everything. Everywhere right now. It would just pop up as the
fair.
town.
Everything it's responsible for would pop up. I see. There might be
Yes.
other things in the future we might want to look for.
Any of the little trinkets or details you give me, I can find and use for you. You just simply need to give the most description you can about it. The more descriptive the details, the more individualistic the item, the easier the job.
That's great information to have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, be sure to tiptoe right back here if I find anything.
Of course. That means if there's anything else you require, don't hesitate to come ask.
I was a little bit
Okay.
curious about your potions. What do you have there?
Oh, I got some of my standards. A shape-changing potions, a couple of size-changing potions, and an elixir of youth. Some basic
Shape-changing.
remedies, of course, healing potions and that of the like, should anybody need them, although we rarely sell those these days.
I'm interested in the shape-changing potion. How far do the shenanigans go?
Around the season quite often, but people like to stock up a little early these times. It's not too far away, after all, that the season's coming to change.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm. But alas, yes, that's it for the most part.
Alright. So you're not selling this shape-changing one? Not yet?
Of course I'm selling these now. It's for when people want to buy them.
Yes, I'm curious about it.
Okay, well, the shape-changing potions will change your visible shape for specifically 1 hour to that of an image upon which you yourself hold attachment to.
Ooh.
Say there's someone, a lover that you wish to look at for the longest of times. Or say, for instance, you just simply want to disguise yourself. Then you have a long-distant relative you can disguise yourself as. Things of the like, you know?
How
Interesting.
much does that go for?
For these sort of remedies, about 28 gold.
28 gold. Oh, I'm a bit short. I'll keep it in
That's
mind, I
unfortunate,
guess.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you get back to business. Thank you.
Of course. Do make good time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hopefully see you again soon.
Of course, likewise. Ah. So, moving on. Roll me a d20.
Ooh.
Hannah. Or, you know what, Hannah? Yes, Hannah, you roll me the d20.
Okie dokie.
Let's see which town member
Damn.
you get.
Oh boy.
Let's see who it is. Oh, you get Groa. Okay. Well,
Yo.
approaching you, actually, no, they wouldn't do that. As you're making your way and you look upon, moving around the fountain, you see the distant signs of the streets of Melancholy Street. Many of the buildings half run down, but very strong in terms of their foundations, some of them being rebuilt up. Different assortment of trees, dead and alive, and like overgrowths piling in a large tower at a part of it. But when you were looking around some of the corner buildings and stands, you notice a pair of eyes locking onto y'all. And the moment you do, it disappears behind one of the stands.
You see Hannah, like, go full on, like, hunched over caveman startle for a moment. Oh.
Seems like we have a friend.
A friend, yes. I'd hope so. Hello? She's like leaning over as if changing her angle of her head 45 degrees is totally going to give her a new perspective.
You're just going full 90-degree angle around the stand. In which case, you see this figure in no, Mike. The base of their body actually being a green cactus-like growth, with spines coming out the edge, a somewhat black torn-up dress, holes at some of its places, which glowing green, kind of biomass kind of seems to show, in the shape more of a humanoid with hands like claws, hair that is actually places of pumpkin, and glowing eyes and mouth. She just lets out the
Oh.
tiniest little squeal.
Oh my gosh, hi. You startled me. Good one.
No.
I'm sorry.
You're
No, it's
fine.
alright. That was a good one.
Mm,
Oh, are you alright?
I'm fine. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Mm, you're
Listen,
just
I think in the
new.
spirit of it all, it's a good scare, right?
Hmm. You notice them kind of like every now and again swaying, and while you thought that they were just kind of moving in a pattern, you notice they're actually kind of just shaking and vibrating.
What's your name?
Groa.
Gora. I'm Hannah. It's alright.
Mm,
You're perfectly fine.
you're new.
Wanna shake hands or something?
They immediately try to retreat.
Oh. Oh.
Or
I'm
things
trying to be
shy.
friendly. Yeah. A bit shy. Do you want a cookie?
They seem to be retreating about 3 stands away. They peek their head out again. Good.
Hannah, I mean, she Hannah tucked some of her treats away in the vest pocket. She takes a cookie from her breast.
Yeah?
They move 2 stands away. 1 stand
He
away.
could
Yeah, you can
They
have
peek around the
it.
same
She'll
stand.
kind of put her hand out, so perhaps the distance between her and the
She'll.
cookie is more
They
comfortable.
seem to happily take and accept the cookie, beginning to eat, kind of solely focused on the cookie and just eating
Oh,
it
token
away.
of friendship, Grower. You have a good one, alright? If you see any kind of hearts or something, tell me. I'm trying to sort that out.
Okay. There's a
Enjoy.
lot of hearts.
There's a lot of hearts.
Yeah.
Hannah kind of just stiffly turns and looks at Zol and smiles. What do you What do you mean by that?
You're looking for a heart. I should the place.
I'm definitely interested.
Kind of. So they're gonna start taking you around the town every now and again, and they're gonna start pointing at different hearts. Yes, actual just body hearts, many different sizes and shapes. There's a lot of them.
Oh,
Some
that
of
one's
them are more of a in
nice.
display cases. Some of them in the science areas. It's about what you'd expect.
Yeah.
So they're just showing you a lot of different regular hearts.
That's a nice hue of red. Good, thank you.
But yeah,
I would probably just uncomfortable smile and be like, "Thank you, Cora. Thank you. Oh, lovely."
Kid gives a nod. And the moment you turn and the moment both of your eyes are off of her, she's gone.
Yeah. Okay. We should probably join back with the others.
Yeah, there's a lot more hearts in the town than I thought.
So, With that, we'll get to Lindsay and Ark. Where are y'all two heading?
To the fountain to try and see if we can get any trace or clue of.
Ironically enough, not far from the fountain, in the actual distance, you just see the interactions with you see the distance that happening, and you go to the fountain actually. This large kind of like platform-like area that kind of like circulates around everything else. Like some parts of it are dig in almost like a trench hole, and some parts of it are taller like a tower, and at the center of the tower area seemed to be this blood-red fountain with water coming through. However, you noticed that it seemed to have stopped. You know how fountains have water that moves constantly?
Mhm.
It seems to have stopped completely as the blood wine water in the fountains comes to a full rest.
Like somebody hit the proverbial pause button.
Yep.
Gotcha. All right. Well, let's have a look. Ark's gonna just kind of start looking around for any signs of where the piece would have been resting at the time, where the heart would normally sit, and try and see if there's any trace.
Okay. So you look through it, and at first it seems confusing, right? It's just a fountain. You circle, and you do many things. Roll me an investigation check.
Investigation, please be good.
16. You move around, and eventually it takes you sinking your hands into the water, in which you notice it's almost like a slime or some kind of gelatin. You have to push and force your hand actually through it, and upon the center area of the fountain, pretty much, where you would pretty much go to the top part and just shove your hand through, deep down you feel like it feels like almost like a mechanism, like something's meant to be placed there. You swish your hand around, and yeah, no. It feels like there's a flat surface, circular, that's meant to hold something, but it's gone.
Ark's just gonna have a bit of a grimace as he's trying to push his hand through. Not liking the feeling of this. Okay, I think I figured where the heart is supposed to sit. There's a platform of some sort up here. But well, I can't see anything else other than where it's supposed to be. In this strange water, whatever it is. Very strange. I'm not quite sure what we can find in here. Do you have any thoughts?
Not really.
Well, at least we have an idea of how big of the object we can get, of how big the object we're looking for, judging by the size of the plate it rests on. Is there anything else of note around the fountain, maybe on one of the lower tiers?
Well, there's a couple of things. There's a lot of different distinctive carving, there's a lot of innates, but in terms of the investigation itself, roll me either survival or investigation again. Both of you may do so, by the way.
Investigation?
Sir.
Investigation or survival.
I'll roll survival because I got proficiency there.
13.
Investigation. Yeah, I got plus. Jesus.
Both of you got a 13. Looking around, there's a lot of different signs and different indentures. These are very old places. So, of course, there's a mixture of a lot of remnants. You don't know what's a hint, you don't know what's a sign. But you do notice one thing. The factor of pretty much on the very edge leaving the actual fountain itself. While every other sign, you know how you can, when you step into a liquid and it's a different color, sometimes that same color is placed upon as a footprint?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You see one shoed footprint that is red. As if somebody had stepped into the red water mist.
Alright, so let's have a look. Hello, what do we have here?
Oh,
Probably somewhat smaller, somewhat reminiscent more of a teenage body size than anything else, and it's one shoe-shaped footprint.
Hey,
It's
Lindsay,
starting to fade.
down here, quickly. Take a look at this.
hey,
I believe we have a little hint as to who might our perpetrator be. It's gonna kneel down and just kind of try and take like a visual measurement of the footprint. Take a look at this footprint. It's the same color as that strange red slime water from the top of the fountain. How much you want to bet somebody stepped into it to try and reach up and grab the orb?
most likely.
Judging from the size, we're looking for possibly someone younger.
Someone younger.
Not a full-grown adult. I'd say average teenager size? Humanoid teenager?
Teenager. Okay. So, like, that's a size 10 to
Little-
like 12.
I'd say a little bit smaller than you.
Oh, they're young. It's like,
Well, actually, hang on.
Mhm.
Actually, come here for a moment.
Huh?
Place your foot next to this footprint. I want to try and compare.
she just does that.
You are 5'3".
Is the shoe size comparable to Lindsay?
To an extent, yes. Maybe perhaps a little bit smaller, actually. Actually, a decent bit smaller.
If I'd have to guess, I would say somebody perhaps a little smaller than you.
Also, ignore these rolls.
Very.
I have to technically do them. At least 4 of them.
Okay.
So someone a little younger than an adult. Roughly your size, if not a little smaller. Alright, well. At this point, we would see Hannah and Zolrin coming up to the fountain.
Actually, you'd see them being pretty much... You would see them pretty much be, like, walked around the fountain and taken in other places by Groa. And pointing at things.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey,
Well, while they're on their little walking tour, would there be anything else of note to around the fountain?
From what you can actually estimate, I think that would be it. The most you can garner is the factor of that they're people probably of a smaller size stature, if this footprint is in relation.
Ark
But
would
at
have
least
to.
somebody of that shape had entered into the red part, which is, you know... How do I best put this? You don't just go up to the red part of the fountain on the usual basis. It's not like the watery part.
Yeah,
So someone was at least up in
Ark's
that area
thinking.
of that shape.
Ark is thinking. There's only one reason somebody would be up, especially in the central section of that fountain. It would be to try and reach the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, it's their best bet. So for now, Ark and Lindsay, or at least Ark, will just kind of sit on the edge of the fountain and wait for Hannah and Zolrin to finish their little walking tour.
hey, Iconis.
Yes?
How often do you see dwarves?
Why are you curious about dwarven folk?
Well, they don't exactly have the biggest shoe size, do they?
No. I've met a few in my travels. Times when I've gone to the mountain regions.
Children steal things, yeah. But there's something that children have that sort of is like an internal guilt. They can't really hold on to things for very often. What if you train a dwarf to steal, and you do it successfully? No one would suspect that.
Hmm. From my previous interactions with them, I have known the dwarves to be a very honor-bound people. To have one of them result to thievery, especially if something of note as that.
Well, there's always some bad seeds around. They honor what they honor, but that doesn't stop them from being, assholes.
It is not impossible, but I would say highly unlikely. Besides, judging from this footprint, just making an educated guess here, dwarves by nature are very... How should I put this? Well set, hefty, yes, I suppose. The step of this one does not strike me as one of such heavy base. Now, of course, I could be wrong. Of course, I could be wrong. It could just appear that way with how much has faded. But I suppose if we come across any dwarves in this town, we should keep an eye.
Take a look, see.
It's something to think about.
I also say we can be keeping our heads to the ground more often to see whose shoes are a bit red.
Indeed. Try and see if we can spot somebody who might be of similar stature to who our mystery footprint belongs to.
Overall. At this point, Hannah and Zoran begin to make their way up and approach.
Hello, you two.
Enjoy your little walking tour.
I suppose. Shown plethora of hearts. Just hearts, like actual hearts.
Well,
you guys find this?
Lindsay and I have found Lindsay and I have found a possible lead.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to indicate the footstep. Up at the top of the fountain, where I believe the heart is supposed to rest. The water up there is strange, almost slime-like. We found a footprint here of that slime. Near as we can tell, it belongs to a smaller individual, possibly a little smaller than Lindsay.
And no
Strikes
one's
me.
smaller than me.
Strikes me as odd that there would be such a boot print there. Actually, hang on. Just clarification. The direction of the boot print is somebody stepping out of the fountain, right?
Yes.
Just checking. It strikes me as there is only one reason why somebody would step into that water up there. Possibly reach for what was sitting up there. Judging by the shape of it, they are a younger individual. Smaller.
And
They would have to get a foothold.
But that's just a very light possibility.
Even if it is a dwarf, their short stature would mean they would have to possibly stand on the bottom or try and climb to the middle area to even reach and get the heart.
Yeah. It's why it's a very, very small chance it would be.
There's a couple of small people around here.
I'm going to guess that your conversation with the magic user was not encouraging?
Well, if you allow me to explain, there are things they can do. It would help to have a good descriptor of whatever we want to search for. Of course, searching for the heart exactly wouldn't really show up anything, because its influence in what it makes is part of it. All of that abstractness, searching for it would basically just light up everything, in a sense.
Shame. Well,
but if we do find anything that we're seeking, and we have a good description, the ladies can get to work. They need to prepare a little bit, but once we have something we want to find, they'll gladly help.
Ark's just going to make a chuckle. Perhaps they could find for us the individual who made this footprint.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I do not know. Either
Any
way,
little trinkets, anything connected to these footprints might help.
well, I suppose our next step would be to try and find this lock, shock, and barrel individuals and see if there's anything they know.
I believe so.
Okay. So you're all making your way down towards.
Yep.
All right. Love Haunt Avenue. Making your way down into this more open-like area, you see that it has several pretty much standard housing areas, as much as you'd expect from Halloween anyway, but many of them actually still undecorated, actually, with a couple of people still in the midst of trying to decorate. You see a large mushroom-like house, actually, several of them. A series of different statues. It's like a mixture of a house avenue area, your standard, town area, actually, with just a lot of statues. It's a mixture between a standard town and a cemetery, with mushrooms.
Yeah,
But
his favorite.
in a large house, actually, that is seemed to how do I best put this? In a very large house that looks like it is off-put in a very, very standard way, where it's kind of misshapen in some areas. You see some areas that are just kind of hanging out, edging on. This is hard to describe because it's such a misproportionate house. It's so ill-defined. I think the only way that I could really put it is the factor of
It looks like additions were added on afterwards.
it looks like somebody just kept building up with no idea what the fuck foundation is.
The Weasley house. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's actually a good fucking description.
Yeah.
It looks like a Weasley house. Somebody got it. Holy shit.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, straight up dead ass. It's a Weasley house.
All right. Well, should we perhaps start knocking on doors? Go check that. Go check this.
I'm gonna copy a picture to kind of give some of a description. People don't know what the fuck the Weasley house is. Kind of like this, but in a more of a fucking Tim Burton method.
Oh my Christ.
Yeah.
And actually walking outside appears actually this woman. Who seems to have a pinkish purplish hat, pinkish purplish eyes, pale, very pale skin, long flowing brownish black hair, and is kind of dressed up in a standard, more well-decored witch's getup. And is currently holding the hand of a baby. Probably you can estimate, probably 4 years old. Seems to be kind of just, and is trying to stylize in a traditional black witch's getup. And it seems as if she's somewhat bending down and talking to her. This is the woman that you see in No Mic.
Ah.
Arx is going to kind of walk to a respectful distance and just kind of clear his throat. Excuse me.
Huh? Hi?
Good day. We're looking for some people we need to talk to.
Alright, I'll buy. What do you want?
We're looking for 3 individuals by the names of Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
What do you want with them?
We were
Kind
hoping...
of pushes the child behind her now, kind of actually giving an inquisitive look. Less friendly, actually, than that of the rest of the town.
We were hoping for some information regarding a former associate of theirs.
And if they want nothing to do with the conversation?
If that is their choice, then we can't really push the issue. We were sent here to try and locate the missing item of importance of this city, of this town.
Listen, whatever's dealing with that, it had nothing to do with us.
Not a saying that you did. We were told that the method of operation closely matches somebody who used to cause trouble in this town long ago. And that individual had 3 younger individuals working for him.
It's at this point another figure.
Why are you beating around the bush like that?
Ooh.
Very well. We are looking for information regarding a boogeyman.
Yeah, Boogie. I figured it's about him. It's at this point that actually another man walks out. Seemingly having more red hair, pretty much crimson red, with green eyes and actually pretty spiked up teeth. He walks out. Hey, you know we got new folk. You guys heard about? Come and help with something? Or you just want our expertise hands, huh? I figured somebody would come around for a job.
We're actually here looking for information.
Information? Sorry, buddy, I don't deal in that. No, you idiot. They're here to ask about Boogie. No comment.
If you're not willing to speak, then we cannot force you. We just have very strong suspicion that he is the one behind the missing heart.
At least currently, it's our only lead.
Indeed.
Look, it's at that point that the third one comes actually pretty much knocking the one with the red hair over. Oh, hey. Barrel, you dumb fuck. What do you think you're doing? What? The pizza rolls were almost done.
At this point, Ark's gonna smile. Lock, shock, and barrel, I presume?
Yeah. And who the fuck is asking anyway? Who are you folk?
We
Folk-
folk are looking for something.
Just at that point, the little witch goes, fuck. Oh, damn it. She immediately bites her tongue. Ooh,
We were
told you.
brought here at the request of the lord of this land to try and find the missing heart. And so far, the only lead that we have is that this fits the method of a boogeyman. And that while he is no longer welcome in this realm, there are 3 individuals who used to work for him. So if there was anyone who would know anything about what he might be up to, or how he used to work in the past, it would be them.
Make a persuasion check to see if you could potentially convince them to talk at this point. Because while you're not pressing the issue, you're making it very apparent that this may be required.
30-20.
Dirty 20.
320.
They kind of look back at the kid, look at them. Get the hell inside. And just she kind of picks them up and just walks back in. And everyone kind of follows, Barrow kind of blinking at y'all. He then walks in after about a minute.
Ark will follow along.
Alright,
He falls
y'all go
behind.
inside to this very... It does actually look like the Weasley house interior, just pretty much a Tim Burton aesthetic. It really is just the Weasleys. But for the most part, yeah, you walk in and you look inside and things are moving by themselves. Chairs, tables. In fact, you see two brooms fighting each other for dominance, immediately, like as if it's sword fighting with invisible people. Hey, I told you! You better settle down! If you're gonna fight over in the living room. Alright, take a seat. What is it you want to know? Give us some questions or something. It wasn't us, if that's what you're thinking.
Of course not.
No. But, as we said, this sort of act we were told was not outside your former boss's MO.
Yeah, no. It sounds like something he would want to do. I'm just surprised it actually worked this time.
We know you three used to work with him. Do you know if there was anybody else that was sympathetic to him?
Hey, sympathetic wasn't exactly the right term. Yeah, man, like, look, if you really, if you want to do something, like, crazy, or you just want to, he seems to try to bite his own tongue from cursing. If you wanted to mess around with the people around, you'd go to him, but, you know, it just, listen, he plays on people, dude. Starts off light, let's just play a couple of pranks, you know, and it just gets out of hand so quickly, and then he catches you.
And by the
You
time
owe
you
him.
realize what's wrong, it's too late. I've dealt with that kind before in the past.
Yeah, except he's real good at it, and you don't want to owe him a favor. But we owed him a lot of favors. Yeah, no shit, diphead. We had to actually call the Lord to help us.
Alright, so, obviously the three of you used to work with him. Was there anyone else that would run jobs for him from time to time? Perhaps someone around this area, roughly her size? Gonna point to Lindsay.
We're pretty much his main run crew for a while, if I'm being honest. It was just usually the three of us. He has some undead skeletons every now and again, but those are just conjurations. Not even real. Well, there was the one thing he was last working on. Yeah, but he didn't even get it off the ground without us. And even then, by that point, we were on our way out. There's no way he could have got it working by himself. I don't know. Something tells me that he wouldn't have the power to do this unless it was something.
What was he last working on, if you don't mind?
It's at that point they actually all kind of look at you and nervously kind of swallow.
Look, if discrepancy is needed, we can say we don't know where we got this information from. Keep your names out of this.
Kids, go outside. It's the point where the little girl just kind of waddles outside, closing the door behind her. You notice that they get very quiet, as if always opening their mouth to say something, but not exactly knowing what to say.
If you three need a minute at any point, just let us know and we can take a step back.
If anybody would like to read into any signs, you may make insight checks. Otherwise, it will take a
Yeah.
while, and it seems as if their wording keeps getting choked up every single time.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'd like to insight check.
Holy shit, it's a 24.
Yeah,
Go
you're
ahead,
plus-
Hannah. I'll allow for
Okay,
one
so-
more.
All right.
Alright.
Oh,
Zol runs these guys under the microscope.
yeah,
That's his
no.
job.
It's true. Hannah, with the 12, you could say that they're very nervous. You could tell that it's probably hard for them to dig up a past they may not be the most proud of, especially now that they have actual people to, well, be seen as role models to, kids, and everything else of the like. It seems that they're trying very hard to put whatever this was behind them. Zoran, you see eyes of people who seem actually fucking haunted. Perhaps in bad experience, but whatever they were talking about before, even nonchalantly, there's trauma behind these eyes. things that they have seen or done or whatever may have happened, something horrifying happened. You could tell even from the paler visage that they normally would have. They're struggling.
Yeah, Zolan will just hold his hands out for if they need to take them.
Hannah would probably lean forward and also gesture to be any kind of comfort and probably say something along the lines of, "You seem very afraid. I don't know what happened, and I don't expect you to speak on it. But if you can be brave for the kids, they need you small."
Make me a persuasion check, Hannah.
Oh boy. Oh, my character sheet disappeared. 1 second.
No.
It keeps happening. Persuasion,
That's the DC you
persuasion.
have, I see. You just beat it. It's ironic that they, for their wisdom, they rolled an 8 and you just immediately beat it out. Despite the sensation, they are still going to be struggling. You can tell they have to take a minute between words. But at least some of the details seem to come out.
Ooh.
He never knew when to really stop. We were, what, kids? When we were doing this shit? By the time we turned teenagers, we realized how bad it off we were in the whole thing. But the last job, we wanted out, so we tried to do one more job, but he did things to people. It changed them. They weren't people anymore when he was done with them. It didn't work. Whatever he was trying to do, it didn't work, but what he did to them, we never turned back. He was trying to make an army to take the town by force.
And how did he try to do this?
Oh. At this point, he kind of, the man with the red head, that being, as you can tell, Locke, kind of puts a hand on her shoulder. He had many methods, dude. It was between a mixture of saws, taking out the body parts, putting in new body parts, filling them with gel, and trying to puppet the gel with slimes. Dude, you name it. He did a lot of shit. Being a little specific right now probably isn't the best idea, but he tried to have his methods.
Ark will just kind of raise a hand. No. I think I can infer here.
I'm sorry you three went through that, seeing all that. Especially as kids.
Indeed. You say he tried and failed. Do you know why he failed?
They just wouldn't work. He couldn't figure it out. He tried to get them to obey him. He tried to get some level of control. Every now and again it would work for like a day, but eventually it just broke free. It went crazy, went mad. At that point, the moment some of them started to escape and he lost all hell control, Vilda got involved.
All right.
We're lucky we're actually probably still here, if I'm being honest.
Well, from what we were told, you three have tried to make a better life for yourselves since that time, so I can respect that. Especially given it's going to kind of nod to the door. The fact you have responsibilities of that nature, I myself can somewhat understand.
gonna kind of
Yeah.
reach up. It's gonna kind of reach up and pet the head of the dragon.
But that was like, what? About 80 years ago? Even with that amount of time, I can't see him getting it up and running himself. And he doesn't exactly have a lot of options of people.
Mm.
Which is why he probably wants a stone.
Yeah, he wants
From
the
what
heart.
from what we were told, if he has figured out a way to control the heart, seems like he could use it as a catalyst for this bastard army. But so far as we've been able to ascertain, the heart is still somewhere here in town. You three seem very knowledgeable of the town and of the people. Like we said, we believe somebody of similar size and stature to our companion here, again pointing to Lindsay, may have been the one to take the heart from the fountain. Do you three know of anyone in this town who would be remotely similar to her in size?
Hmm. Just bigger, smaller folk. She's gonna try to remember.
We're looking for someone perhaps a slight
No.
bit shorter, slight smaller than her.
No one with those qualities.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mark, I
Was
have a
that like
different
an
question.
instant? No,
That was an immediate no.
I went inside that.
Go ahead.
Someone would have picked up on that immediately.
So would Ark, but
19? Okay. GM rolling time. This is gonna be a little hard, but I know how much she has. Ooh, 14. You just beat it.
ooh,
You noticed her face perk up, immediately remember something, and then immediately go stone-faced, as if laser-focused. No.
Ark's just going to kind of glance over at Zoran and then over at the other two.
Is there anything else? We
how
can't really
about-
think of anybody for this. Not with the kind of skill set to really do it, you know?
Skill set.
Yeah.
From what we were told, it would have been rather simple to remove the heart from the fountain.
Well,
Did-
you would have to
Yes, I
figure
had
out how it'd
questions.
work first, if I'm being honest. And to be honest, no one really just exactly goes up and does it. And by skill set, I mostly mean like, sneaking around and shit like that. Vilda's the best at it, but admittedly, besides scaring some passing guests and children, you could probably tell people are pretty heavy-footed here, and pretty old. They don't exactly have the, youthful exuberance most of us have these days. So
Indeed.
actually sneaking around with the freaking thing in hand, very few people have that kind of skill.
I see. Well,
I had two other questions.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that there were other plans in the past that, attempting this. I'm a little bit curious. What were the methods planned for that? Or at least the last attempt?
Repeat?
The last time it was attempted by Boogie to steal such thing, what was the ideas behind that?
Oh, I could tell you that. Oh man, we were gonna actually gather this new thing called fireworks and make it to ow! At that point, the witch kind of smacks the back of the devil man's head. Point being, that last one was actually kind of our work, admittedly. We were making a big-ass distraction, trying to come up with ideas, pretending to Vilda that mayhaps we could actually be pretty good around the town as hands. And when they weren't looking, we were gonna take it.
Mm-hmm.
Of course,
And I have another question.
Hmm?
Even though we worded someone around town, is anyone just as sneaky with such skill sets outside of town?
Probably. Admittedly, it's been, what, quite a few, like maybe 60 years since we've actually been out of this place? If there is, I wouldn't really know.
Hmm. Well, I
I
cannot
would
think of
probably
anything.
just turn to a Canis and the others and be like, what's to say that the person we're looking for, they may have kept it here, but information could be sought just outside of town.
That is a
The other
possibility.
question. Again, we should probably hurry this up. I gotta get her to school.
Mm-hmm. That's all I have to ask.
Alright,
I can.
Hmm?
No, I cannot think of anything else at this time. We appreciate
Alright.
the help you have given us. If you can think of something else later, please. Any assistance would be very much appreciated.
Yeah. Oh, well, sure. Go on. What were we doing again? Idiot, we're taking the kid to school. Alright. He's gonna go out. See the one that is pale and green seem to go outside and run around trying to find the kid, as the other two seem to be packing some things up. Alright, well, good luck around the town. I guess call us if you need anything. We'll be out and about.
As will we.
Likewise.
Alright. So, group. They kind of just see all out and walk out themselves, moving around the town with the kid. What do you all do?
As soon as they're out of earshot, Ark's going to kind of look at the others and go, anybody else think she was a little too quick on that no?
For one second, HD.
HD!
Yo.
You getting a little tired there, homie?
Holy fuck. I laid back in my chair. And like,
That's one
All
comfy
good.
chair.
it
Hell
is
yeah.
too fucking comfy.
Hell
All
yeah.
in all, though, what's next for the game? Y'all can continue y'all's conversation now, though.
Yeah, like I said, Ark's going to kind of glance to the others and go, anybody else think that one was a little too quick on the no when I asked about someone similar to Lindsay?
Boss.
Everyone's been a little bit quick today. Even that cat from earlier. We had the conversation.
Hmm.
She was a bit skittish when we were on the stairs. Well, actually, no. You guys were at the bottom of the stairs. Me and Hannah were at the top. We had our conversation. She took away.
But no, that one, the young lady, she was a little too quick, and I swear she was about to say something, but then decided not to cooperate.
Either someone they know, someone they're close to, or that it's completely out of the question. With what they know would be involved in stealing such a thing and hiding it away, that simply no one they know of that stature would be able to do that.
Hmm. So, unfortunately, I can't think of anyone else we could speak to here.
Wait, I think we kind of ran our options, though. But we do have a lead.
I did have a
Indeed.
couple of questions because I wasn't there myself. These footprints.
Hmm?
What was the style of the boat? Where did it lead off to?
It was just the one footprint stepping away from the fountain.
Indeed, it was the same kind of reddish slime water as what was up on the top of the center of the fountain.
No other details about the footprint.
Not really.
Have you
That's
found any others around town?
around town. No, because I don't think that's how footprints work. What we think is that we gotta find some rather dirty shoes with a reddish tone, reddish stain, maybe.
Somebody of similar stature to Lindsay here.
Yeah, smaller.
But regardless, it seems the only other individual that we could potentially talk to would be this boogie person themselves. However, they apparently live outside.
Outside.
Mm.
Well, you heard them. He's not welcome in this town.
Oh, outside the town. Okay, I thought we would have seen.
No.
Oh,
Well-
there's another possibility. There's a school. There's a lot of little people at school. These three were brought on to do work for Boogie when they were young and impressionable. Was there a lot of young and impressionable people that are small?
Indeed.
School.
I think I'm seeing where you're going with this. Perhaps we should try and quietly follow
For a
along?
moment, perhaps.
Is there a school here, mate?
Would Lock, Shock, and Barrel still be within eyesight?
For the most part, the school, as you noticed, is still near Love Haunt Avenue, actually. Just up on the upper section of up the hill, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, effectively.
Mark's gonna kind of glance over and go, I think
That's simply
the
my
place we're
idea,
looking
but
for
if
is
you
up
think it would be more
there.
fruitful to go straight to Boogie or check the outskirts. I think that's just as valid, if not more.
I still think that those three know something they weren't willing to tell us.
Oh, they definitely know something.
You got that impression
One
too,
issue
eh,
is, if you're
Zorin?
thinking of being a bit sneaky, I don't really see myself as too sneaky, so perhaps I should lay back.
I don't think. So hear me out. I may sound a bit crazy here.
Go ahead.
Sneaking around the school isn't exactly the most popular
Or should just
Indeed.
be casual.
thing. Well, you can go casual and. Or you just, well, if we're there for questions and actually explain what we're doing, we're not trying to be suspicious here. We can ask questions. Something is missing from the town that we're trying to find.
Mm-hmm.
So we're covering our tracks. And one of the tracks also happens to be a very small person.
So the way I see it, we have three options. One, we casually observe the school, try and see if we can find someone who matches the same size that we're looking for. Two, we leave the town and try and locate this boogie individual. Or three, we go back to Vilda, inform her of what we know, and ask for her opinion on what to do next.
Personally, I don't think seeing the second option would give us some much information. It would put us at an unnecessary risk.
Agreed, considering we don't even know where out there beyond the city's area, beyond the city's walls, this boogie resides.
I guess knowing that would be part of that third plan of going to see Vilda and then being like, oh, which way would we go for that?
Yes.
So technically, option 3 is part of option... She, looks at her hands. Was it 1 or 2? The one where we go outside.
That would be 2.
Alright.
Yeah, 2.
So, are we in agreement then? Return to Vilda, see what she has to offer, and a possible next step?
I mean, potentially going to school has no real downside. Worst case scenario, we just get shooed away.
The school's starting. That one's on a bit of a time window. So we can go to Vilda at any point.
Ark's just also gonna, at this point, kind of glance over to Lindsay, and a small smile is gonna kind of spread over his face. Perhaps what we need is an eye inside.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Why are you looking at it like that?
What does that mean?
Well,
No.
think about it. You are You are roughly the same size.
You're not enrolling me in classes.
Perhaps
My
just
goodness.
perhaps just a day transfer.
Day transfer. We can just go. First of all, I am an individual with slight murderous intent to protect my own skin. If a snotty
Art's
little
gonna kind of
kid,
glance around the city, and the rest of the folk around here are not.
yeah, well, no, but they haven't done the shit that we have, surely. Like they've done their own things.
Think about how Lindsay stabs people with forks. Now think about, like, just superimpose that image you have of Lindsay, and then put a bunch of children around
In the
Lindsay.
same room with me. Do you think that's a smart idea? Because contrary to popular belief, I'm not the biggest fan of children. I respect them, but if they piss me off, I'm gonna be mad. And who knows? Could be less forks in the school.
I believe in Lindsay's lack of confidence.
I believe my lack of confidence as well.
Very well, it was just a thought. Perhaps getting an eye on the inside, perhaps maybe you would be able to.
We could
Get that-
just ask.
I mean, I would take Lindsay for show and tell if I was a kid and be like, look, my auntie can take her head off.
I beg your pardon.
All right. Seems the most prudent course of action then would be to go back to Vilda. So come on.
Let's go.
Wow.
All right. In which case, I need. You know what? We'll do HD. HD, you roll me a d20.
Just a d20.
Yep.
I love how the funny music starts playing all the time with the players. 18. Oh god.
18. All right. You are. Let's see which one you. Oh wow.
Uh-oh.
Oh wow. You get two interesting people. You walk down the streets where suddenly you are tapped upon the shoulder. HD.
Dad?
In which you are suddenly met with the visage of a very, very tall woman. You look up at this 10-foot woman standing over you,
A fucking giant, okay.
dressed
Big
entirely
one.
amongst a gown-like outfit.
You still her
Although I
bisexual
will
heart?
Go ahead and push
He
in.
took the
Mic
words right out of
check.
my mouth. What'd you say?
There we go. I'm just putting
Yeah.
the picture in
There.
to the no mic.
Why is the goofy music playing
Seems
now?
that of a banshee-like appearance, but much more corporeal, as if you could touch and feel, and wish you did.
Hamana.
And accompanied right next to them seems to be this very well-dressed skeleton, actually.
So
Oh, fancy.
In which the skeleton immediately speaks. What I say, are you though happen to be the ones who are new here?
Yeah. Yeah.
A very cheery welcome to you. I have not had guests in quite the time. At least
Yes, you're
not
quite
on seasonal
fresh-faced.
days. He kind of rubs his chin, which he moves his jaw out of place and in place, out of place, in place.
Lindsay just tightly holds her head.
The skeletal man immediately moves up to Hannah, shakes hand, moves up to Ark, shakes hand, moves up to Zoran, shakes hand, moves up to Lindsay, shakes hand. I must say, I must give the utmost thanks for your assistance at our gracious town. Normally we are not like this, I promise. We are most of the time quite ready and willing to move upon with our plans for every seasonal Halloween. But actually, that is quite the curious part. What do you call your Hollows Falls? Considering there's so many different names now.
Hollows.
Well, like the harvest season.
Harvest season is y'all's line. I believe that's quite a
Mine.
few years back.
I'm so confused.
So that's the time period you're in.
Quite a few. Hmm.
Oh, nothing.
Oh, celebrating it literally last year.
I've heard a few terms in my travels. Harvest Festival, Hallows Eve.
Halloween seems to be the new stick coming around. I don't know
Oh,
why they put a ween at the
Hmm.
end. It kind of gives it a silly name, don't you think?
I forgot that you guys.
Perhaps
it's
it is.
adorable and refreshing.
Perhaps it is a way to get the little ones interested.
God, why
Indeed,
does it feel
indeed.
weird to go
But-
back in time like this?
Do not let me be rude.
But what?
I am the best known as Skelecross. It's a pleasure.
Someone told me I had a weird name.
Arkle just got his head. Well met,
I-
Mr. Skelecross. I am Arcanus, and this little one is Aquaria.
It is a great pleasure to meet you all. Apologies if I seem rather comfortable at times, to which he's actually trailing her hand gently across Lindsay's head and giving it a bit of a rub and a pat, bending down to do so since you're holding it.
Lindsay's face is fucking. I didn't even fucking use the word flustered. I'm gonna say blustered right now.
Lady Civica.
Well met, Lady Civica.
We were just discussing on the matters of exciting times moving forward, and potential changes when this entire thing come about. I dare say I kind of called it. I knew something new would come around. I just didn't think it would be trouble.
Well, yes, we are happy to assist in trying to locate it. Unfortunately, we have not had much success. Only a few potential leads. We were just on our way back to try and see what our next step would be.
I'm glad that at least Madam Ilk has gotten to a few of you. As if you looked at your dragon, it is currently wearing a ghost water dragon outfit.
Ark's gonna do a double take. Where did you get that from?
I believe that's the madam's work. Turn your head too long, and she might just do the same to you lot.
I'll turn my head for that long.
She will not allow anybody to move around this town without some sort of proper manner of dressing.
This is.
I'd like to be properly dressed.
This is Hannah. Introduce Hannah.
I think you've broken.
Lindsay?
Lindsay desperately trying to introduce Hannah to the crew.
In which the lady actually kind of moves on over to the next one, which probably Zoran, to which she actually gives a bit of a touch of the shoulder and a gentle massaging squeeze. And the lot of you, you seem rather curious. Might I know a little bit about you all?
What would you like to know?
I suppose let's begin. I'm curious. What is it that you make of your bringing together as a group? What is it that brought such a curious lot together?
We all have different reasons, I suppose.
Ark's gonna
Very
kind of walk over
interesting.
and just kind of tap Lindsay on the head. Hey,
Ah,
come on, wake up.
She just
You good?
She puts her head back on her fucking back.
There you go. Yes, but yes, we kind of came together for a mutual enjoyment of adventure. And previously, in search of another item, however, currently we offered our services to your lord or lady. And so, here we are.
I see. Well, it is actually quite wonderful. Good to see such a good group coming around and assisting us. Should you succeed, I wish to treat you all before you're leaving.
This is very generous of you. Thank you.
We'll keep this in mind.
Thank you.
She gives a nod. When you do have the time, though, there's plenty around here to see. plenty of places to look at. In fact, there's a couple of mysteries that remains unsolved for hundreds of years. It has quite a few bounties for those who do solve it. But
Hmm.
I do ask that you focus on the main task of helping our dear town first.
Of
Indeed.
course.
We plan to
Once-
stay
once
after
the-
we figure everything out, so we can enjoy the festivities.
Indeed. Once the heart has been safely returned, then we shall have some free time to explore and perhaps solve some of these other mysteries.
Zika then moves to Ark, who speaks, and runs her hands up the indents of your scales of your neck to cup kind of your face into her own hands. You notice a movement of a sensation that almost that of kind of like you're being massaged and relaxed immediately upon touch by her.
Hmm.
She's moving your scales in ways no one ever has.
You have a very unique touch about yourself, Miss.
Do forgive me. The more I contact with someone, the more of them I see.
Ah,
That is understandable.
the world is your braille. Interesting.
In which case, the moment she moves up to Hannah, kind of literally moves her hand up, actually puts them kind of actually at Hannah's side, realizing that she's a bit taller, and moves up to kind of place her hands upon the cheeks of your face.
My
Kind
name's
of rubbing a little
Hannah.
bit.
It's nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure. Oh, you're a tall one. That is quite intriguing.
She has a
Intriguing.
No need to make them all red in the face. My
I am a little bit red. I feel the warmth.
In which she gives a bit of a giggle and backs off at that point, realizing the fact that she might get a
Yes.
little too comfortable. Kind of reminds you of someone in a way.
turns to the skeleton. You have a lovely wife.
Oh dear goodness me. Why, thank you very much. Although, admittedly, I understand the misconception. We're not necessarily together. We're besties, you see.
Bestie.
Steve.
Besties.
I
We
see.
have been for about 4,000 years? Indeed,
Fair
indeed,
enough.
indeed. Ever since the revolution has come. Well, that was quite a long time ago.
You both saw the fall of. Oh.
Oh, I've seen many falls since then. But alas, my own was the most glorious in my eyes.
That sounds wonderful. I'd love to hang out and chat more after we
I believe
hopefully get
so.
everything resolved.
When you do have the time. I believe someone else also wishes for your attention, Hannah.
I was a bit curious about that. Do you happen to know them? They seem to really want to meet me.
Everyone knows him. Although, admittedly, trying to pinpoint what name he has is a little difficult these days.
Do you
It's
know
like-
where I could find him? And if I can give
No.
them a pleasant surprise?
None of many names.
Simply put, no one does. He comes around, of course, I think you would call it Hallows Eve. In which case, he actually indulges himself in giving out candy to the children. But when he's ready to talk, the next time you open a door, it might just be when he's ready.
Am I able to insight check any of this for
Yeah.
Hannah's like personal stuff? Pretty
You can
much.
try to read into the words a little bit there.
Yeah, seeing if like anything's jogging the memory at all for her.
Make me an insight check.
Inside joke.
14. I'd say with the most information, this is probably the type of person where he only talks to people when he's ready to, and or when he decides to make himself known. That sort of aspect.
So she hasn't got any kind of hint at all as to who this person could be.
No, so it would seem. Although you could always ask more questions.
I wonder why they want to run into me so much.
Oh,
I
you
feel
don't know?
quite terrible that I don't recall them.
I see. You must be a beginner of his ways and teachings then.
I believe so.
He always likes to take upon time whenever opportunity presents itself to make themselves known to them, but overall, alas, he is not my teacher, so I cannot begin to relay what he intends. Although, I do believe the one who would know the most would be Old Man Jack and Lady Vilda.
They were
Well
being
then.
quite mischievously vague as well. I just hope I
That's-
recognize this one when I see them.
She kind of gives a smile. That's the lady's way. A bit of a trickster she is, and always has been. But one without bad intentions, I assure you.
The last thing I'd want to do is be disrespectful to this fellow.
In which
But I
case,
suppose I can't help it.
she holds out her hand. May I have all of your hands, so I may bid myself adieu for the night?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Mhm.
Marco will hold out his hand and place it in
In which
hers.
case, she takes all of your hands up into her own and kisses all of your hands one by one, before
Aw.
bowing and beginning to take her leave along with Skella. I do say, I think
Have
I
a
like
lovely
these new
one.
folk.
I love you.
Take care.
I hope to.
Someone else I've scorned for affections. I cannot simply help it, my dear.
As presumably as they're walking away, Lindsay just rips her head off again, like faces it to her own chest, and she starts jumping.
And then, like,
Yeah.
double
She's
double
just,
takes on Lindsay again. It's like, oh.
she's absolutely going wild with like blustering emotions right now.
At this point, even Arcanus is kind of like clearing his throat and rubbing the back of his neck. Anyways,
Lindsay,
Shall we
you're
move
like
on?
a cherry tomato.
Agreed.
And you look so cute.
the lady had a very imposing figure, shall we say?
Imposing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she
let's
was
call-
very
Let's
pretty.
call it imposing. Sure.
Anyways,
Right.
let's
We should
Slow
go on
down.
our way. Yes, I'm with Arcanus. Let's keep walking.
So,
moving
back
along.
over to the ladies' home. You move in and are welcomed up to the same room to have a discussion. This time without a local raven to be there for it. I see you might have got a little more acquainted with the town.
A little bit.
A bit. Some of the
Good.
more friendlier folk came to say hello.
She's calming down. She can't say anything right now.
Well,
Seems to be actually playing like two fingers on her throat. And you notice every now and again, almost like a static radio noise whenever she seems to play with her neck.
well, we have some leads. However, we're not quite sure what our next step should be.
I see. What have you garnered? Sorry, I had to relay myself a little bit with a different voice. Oh, my apologies. Go
It's
ahead.
quite alright. Well, when myself and Lindsay examined the fountain, we did come across a single boot print exiting the fountain,
Mhm.
made of the same strange water the central piece seems to exude. I believe the individual who made away with the heart is somebody perhaps of young age, similar stature to Lindsay here.
It's smaller, apparently.
We also attempted to speak with Lock, Shock, and Barrel. At first, they seemed open to discussing their time with this boogeyman. However, at one point when we asked them if they knew anybody in the town of similar stature to Lindsay here, one of them seemed to immediately lock themselves up.
I see.
We didn't want to press the issue too much, given the nature of the discussion.
Yes, they have been through quite a lot. Even if it was a very long time ago, such memories don't easily disappear.
Wounds like those seldom, if ever, heal.
Hmm. Alas, they were brave
And-
the last time, but they're not exactly still the most trusting of people.
That's understandable.
Indeed. They agreed that this fits the method of Boogeyman. Even spoke of one of his last attempts to try and take this town over.
Hmm. Yes.
But
he
unfortunately,
was quite troublesome.
that is where we seem to come to a halt, as they ushered us out, stating they needed to take the little one to school.
Yes, yes. I do believe they have to drop them off before work.
As such, we seem to be at a bit of a standstill of what to do next. One obvious route would be to try and find this boogeyman ourselves. However, given what we've been told of him, this would prove dangerous, and we wouldn't know where to start looking for him.
It's a lot of risk for not a lot of reward.
Hmm. I don't recommend going to face Boogie directly with you lot. I dare say, based upon any assessment of abilities that y'all might hold. Although I have not seen you in combat, moving into his territory has always been dangerous.
I want to state that my weapons are pristinely clean because I've been using everything else underneath the sun to kill my foes as of late.
She's not just speaking of the state of our weapons, Lindsay, she's also speaking of our combat capability.
I think that's a staple to my combat abilities. I can kill anybody with anything. She twiddles her fingers and she says,
Anyways,
Tell you what, how about a test?
a test?
"The test?
I'll give you a very one-of-a-kind special treat if you actually apprehend whoever this is. I doubt that they'll go willingly if they're willing to put in this much trouble to work with Boogie.
Hmm.
Right.
However, I'll have to say this much. Facing Boogie as you are now, I simply put would not let you be able to leave my town. And I need you to be able to leave my town. But I can't, in good faith, send you to your suicidal deaths.
We are ill prepared,
Very
grossly. So, we require some extra preparations then if we are to set out. However,
Yeah.
we still know for a fact the heart is still here somewhere. So if we can first locate it, there may be no need to go and face this boogeyman.
Yep. Admittedly, though, we should post haste.
I have an interesting question for you.
Go ahead.
Does the water in the fountain stain by any chance?
If dry before washing off, yes.
Well, we can't exactly go looking at everybody's shoes to see if any of them have a stain of the fountain on them.
I've probably changed by now.
Although, wait a moment.
It might be noticeable if one shoe is different from the other. More of a red tint to it.
As much as I loathe to say this, Zoran, Hannah, you said the individual you spoke to would be able to possibly locate trinkets or such items if we give them a good enough description.
Yes.
What if we were to ask them to try and locate any other sources of the red water, not at the fountain?
Oh.
Do you think they would be able to locate something like that?
Maybe.
As much
That
as
is
I
a
am not
question for
keen on,
them.
as much as I am not keen on speaking to magic trackers, unfortunately, we don't have much option.
Just let me and Hannah worry about it.
Very well. If they are able to help us, then perhaps they can put us on the right path to our culprit. At which point we could either A, approach them and ask them directly, or B, stand back and observe and see if they lead us to it.
Either choice, either way, either plan. Nothing else to follow, nothing else to go. Do as you wish, do as you may. But please, post haste. We don't exactly want them to slip away out of the town with it.
Of course. Then may I also recommend that individuals should not be allowed to leave the town. Do you have any means of having guards placed at the entrances and exits?
That's a tricky one. Because we don't exactly want everyone to know about this yet. Mostly because I don't want panic. But you're alright. Maybe I can ask a few favors from some of my locals to cause an open scene. I'll see what I can muster.
Thank you kindly.
For now, I suppose we should go and speak with these individuals from before. Shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Alright.
Indeed. In fact, perhaps we could also see if the heart itself used to sit in the fountain. Perhaps it may still contain a trace of the water itself. Perhaps their tracking might be able to identify its location as well.
So, with a lot of you back upon the map, where are y'all heading?
I assume here.
Yeah, Ark will most likely follow Zoran and Hannah. Well, you know where they were before. Follow your lead this time.
I suppose we both head that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, who are you going to?
Looking for the same lady as before. What was their name?
The hag.
Yes.
Manifest.
Yes. Manifest.
But she kind of has fully set up her stand, is about to actually take her cart and everything else and leave when you actually stop her in the tracks.
What can I do for you, dearies?
Hello.
Hello.
My friends might actually have something they'd want to have tracked.
Ooh, okay. That I can do. What is it?
Hannah would gesture to Akanis and Lindsay.
Ark will step forward and say, "We believe the individual that we're looking for may have gotten their clothes stained with the red water of the fountain. Would you be able to use your abilities to track any other sources of this water, not at the fountain?"
I believe I might actually be able to then.
So long it is within upon something else.
It's a little trickier, but I could give it a try.
We believe the water may have been absorbed into their clothing, specifically their footwear.
Okay, that's a little more specific. I will do my best. We must return to my abode, however.
Well,
I'll kind of give a nod. Very well.
In
Please
which
lead the way.
case,
very well.
she makes her way and you all go towards Melancholy Street. Which I'm going to place you all down now.
Every time there's a map, I'm like, ooh, fight map.
There's potential fights to be had, depending on what you do.
Oh boy.
Mhm.
Here we go.
I will place down your buddy.
Dark hell in there.
It is pretty dark in this map.
Mm-hmm. And
You
I'm
see
seeing.
they go cast light on like a rock or someone's thing they're holding for them to see better.
Lizzie's got her dark vision.
Mm-hmm.
And I would probably light up her necklace again with the light thing.
Okay, so you would like another light, which I will be probably placing the... So, you are placing the light upon yourself. How... There, hang on. Going to your thing with dynamic lighting. Turning on low light. Actually, no, bright light.
Thank you.
Alright. And save settings. There you go.
Oh, thank you.
Alright, and you're casting a light, Zoran.
Yeah, it's gonna be on something Arc is carrying, so they can see better as well.
Alright. Save setting.
Thank you.
In which case, you are all lighting up the localized area. But yeah, no, this is a free-form map as the hag begins to make their way on forward. You see some of the houses. Some of them run down and moved up and bricked up with a bit of a moss and darkened color texture. But overall, with the majority of them enlightened up fashion, decorated all for a potential upcoming season.
Mark will just kind of follow along. And glancing around side to side, making sure everything's alright.
Yeah, no. Overall, people seem to be just jovially going about their business. All of them seem to be working. This guy over yonder, as you notice a dark shadow up ahead. A large one, in fact, moving. This tree-like entity before you, actually. Large, bolstering, huge. Probably at 14 to 15 feet, mayhaps even up to 20. But wide, girthy, with a skeleton center with upon a dark and green flame upon him. Seems to be setting up decorations.
I would just politely wave.
Small
He
nod.
slowly moves and waves back a bit, with a bit more of a slower movement to his hands and arms.
Very nice decorations, my friend.
Thanks. Grower. I need the pumpkin. He seems to be putting pumpkin on pikes.
Lindsay bows.
Tilts his head, then goes back to work.
Mm.
Come on in. Sisters, we have guests.
Greetings.
Hey,
Hello?
DM.
Oh, yeah.
I might give you control. I'm dying.
You dying?
I'm
Alright.
dying.
We're about to be ending off anyways.
I was gonna say, do we want to pause here then for next week?
I don't want. Nah. If I'm going to bed, y'all stop when y'all stop, but don't stop because I'm stopping.
I mean,
That's
it's
why. That's
almost
why I
time.
give Tanner to have. That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's around that time.
Well, I was gonna say, you're the one controlling the stream, so if we want to call it here, then
Fuck, that's true.
it's as good as any.
I'll say this. You end off seeing these other two sister-like hags smile toothy-wide grins at you, while some of them seem to be moving around the back. There seems to be about 4 in total. And upon entering in this large, kind of like a mixture between a witch's hut and an alchemist shop, that is where we'll head off, as y'all move on to the next step of your investigation.
Okay, now that proverbial cards are down, lock, shock, and barrel, huh?
Yeah, that sounds familiar as fuck, and I don't know what I'm trying to put it through.
It's the 3 kids from the Nightmare Before,
Nightmare Before Christmas.
just
Oh,
grown
my
up.
Boogie Boogie's little minions.
Oh yeah.
Alright, we're
Yeah.
watching the Nightmare Before Christmas at some point soon, homie. Just because you forgot.
No,
Also,
I forgot because
The
I watched
image of the Banshee. Marron.
Actually, can you guess what my inspiration is? Because you'll never guess.
Madame Mona Daidama.
No. Ironically enough, absolutely not.
Then my only other idea for inspiration would be Lady Dimitrescu.
Nope.
No, but she's a vampire.
She's tall, she got booba.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
And she's
However,
old.
the character in question is actually of someone from the Addams family. And that's
Oh.
pretty much a dead giveaway there.
Oh,
Mrs.
Yeah.
Morticia.
That'd be-
Morticia.
yes, Morticia, effectively. That is the inspiration. And the
Fair enough.
Skeleton Man is pretty much his own interpretation of a very
Gomez.
enthusiastic age.
Gomez?
Enthusiastic aging. A bit of Gomez, but very much so a lot of other things in sight. And instead of them just being romantic partners, for obvious reasons, they decided to be more just entwined besties.
Keep things platonic. But yeah, no.
I'm a watcher.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
As soon
women are my
as soon as you started describing the female of the trio with the coloration of the hair and the costume, it's like, okay, this one's one of the 3.
well, I knew right away.
And then when Locke came out, and then Beryl just basically dunce capped himself.
Some things never change, but a lot has kind of grown from them. And honestly, I try to concept a lot of details using previous inspirations to just think, what would happen if this happened? That's where you'll find a lot of my details.
Mm.
And it would be just simply put, what if they grew up?
Fair enough.
Eventually they did.
In this case, they did. Grew up and had kids.
I need to
Yeah.
block this bot. I got
Hell yeah.
a follow bot, a singular follow bot. It's like, yo, I love your energy. You said this whilst I wasn't saying anything.
Gotta love
It's,
those.
it's like, yo, I love your energy as you're just dead ass asleep.
You're- y'all woke me up before I like fully conked out. I'm like,
Yeah, Yeah, we heard you pulling a honk shoe in the mic.
oh god.
Yeah.
This is work being brutal to me. Fucking yeah. Careful with these bots, by the way. It's like, oh, anyway, I want to add you on Discord. And it's like, wow, Discord bots are reaching to Twitch and backwards.
Yeah.
Christ.
All right. Well, hey, we've made some progress at least.
A lot of progress.
Overall, though, I hope you're at least somewhat enticed by the potential story here.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
But what's really going to be interesting is when they do eventually leave, how much time is actually going to have passed in the other realm.
That's a good question.
Wait, did the times not match up in the other room?
Different realms have different time bases.
Okay.
It could be similar enough.
But you're
True.
kind of seeing just how old some things are here, at the very least. You're like, oh, some things are like 40 to 80 years old. Oh, some things are a few hundred. Oh, some things are 4,000.
But I'm saying, like, is spending one day in this realm the same as spending one day back home?
And that's even a better question.
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm wondering.
Also, no,
Mhm.
we haven't really found means of sleeping.
Well, true, but time-wise, we've only been here, what, couple hours at most?
You'd probably estimate maybe 4 hours, 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that point, it's just getting late.
It's true. It was getting pretty late in the world.
Well, either way, we've got our spot to go off of next time.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Oh, excuse me.
With plenty more interesting figures and characters to meet.
Mhm.
Like, turn off the video.